Trước khi bắt đầu, nếu bạn đang tìm kiếm sách để học IELTS hiệu quả, thì đây là những cuốn sách chúng mình khuyên dùng. Nó có thể giúp bạn đạt điểm IELTS từ 7.0 tới 8.0. Bạn hãy xem ở phần giỏ hàng trong kênh nhé.
Part 1. You will hear a conversation about registering for a community equipment club.
Good afternoon, Handy Share Cooperative. How can I help you today?
I read about your equipment club in the community newsletter and I'd like to register. I live in Eastbrook and I'm hoping to save money by borrowing tools instead of buying them.
That's exactly why we exist. It's designed for local residents who only need equipment from time to time. First, you need to live within 6 kilometers of our depot. Eastbrook is inside that area, so that's fine.
Great, that shouldn't be a problem at all.
For identification, we require something that shows your photograph and current address, such as a driving license or a bank statement, together with photo ID.
No problem, I can bring that with me.
There's a yearly membership fee of £30. That lets you borrow most of our manual tools without any extra charges.
And what about power tools?
For electric or battery-operated tools, there is a £60 deposit. It's fully refundable when the tool is returned in good condition.
That sounds reasonable.
All our tools are organized by category, such as gardening, carpentry, and decorating. When you log in online, everything is clearly grouped, so it's easy to find what you need.
That sounds convenient.
We also include a free safety demonstration for all new members. It's a short session showing how to use equipment correctly and avoid accidents.
I definitely want that.
If you're short of time, we offer optional services. For example, tools can be sharpened before you collect them.
Oh, that's useful.
And if a tool has worn or broken parts, they can be replaced for a small fee, so you don't need to find spares yourself.
That's good to know.
Once you submit your form, membership is normally confirmed within 2 days.
Very quick.
Finally, when you return equipment, please bring it back in a sturdy container. We don't accept items returned in bags as they can tear in transit.
Understood. I'll sign up today. Thanks for explaining everything so clearly.
You're welcome. We look forward to having you as a member. Part 2. You will hear a talk giving advice on how to reach several viewpoints in a national park.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us at Ridgway National Park. I'm Sam Carter from Visitor Services, and my job today is to give you practical guidance for reaching the main viewpoints safely and with the least hassle. To begin, a quick history lesson about the Upper Viewpoint route. It wasn't built with hikers in mind. Years ago, it served as a maintenance track, so park vehicles could reach the ridge. When people discovered the panorama from the top, the authority decided to open the track to the public and install signposts. The route is considered safe, but it remains narrow in several stretches. Please keep to one side, allow others to pass, and try not to stop in the center of the path. Next, the lower access road is changing. Starting next month, private cars will no longer be permitted to drive up to the lower trailhead. Rather than widen the road, which would disturb the surrounding habitat, the park is introducing a shuttle bus from the main parking area. This will cut congestion and reduce pressure on wildlife corridors. Shuttles will operate at 15-minute intervals, and you can buy tickets at the visitor center before you set off. People often assume the challenge is simply the distance. However, recent visitor feedback tells a different story. The most common difficulty is the uneven surface underfoot. Stones, exposed roots, and sudden dips can be tiring, and after rainfall, certain sections become slippery, increasing the chance of a fall. To make the walk safer, new handrails are being fitted along the steepest parts, and extra warning signs will be placed near sharp corners and hazard points. So, how should you prepare? We're not asking you to invest in expensive specialist gear, but we do strongly recommend checking the weather forecast before you start. Mountain conditions can change quickly, and strong winds or heavy rain may make the paths unsafe. Comfortable shoes with good grip are a sensible choice, and carrying water is always wise, even on cooler days. There's also a small shelter near the river crossing. It will remain open for use, but it will no longer store emergency supplies. Think of it as a rest stop. You can sit, eat a snack, and then continue. Please take any rubbish with you when you leave. Finally, a word about the 3 key viewpoints. Eagle Point is the highest, with a broad valley view, but afternoon gusts can be severe, so the viewing platform closes after 3 p.m. River Lookout is easier to reach and popular with families. The scenery shifts with the seasons, so many people come back several times a year. Sunset Ridge is the only viewpoint where staying after dark is allowed, which is why photographers love it. Before I finish, 2 guided activities start next month: night photography sessions and forest cycling tours. Both are led by trained guides and can be booked online. Enjoy your visit and walk carefully.
Bạn đang nghe podcast miễn phí tại IELTS. Nếu bạn yêu quý kênh, hãy ủng hộ chúng mình ở phần mô tả nha.
Part 3. You will hear 2 students discussing how to design a small research project for a university assignment.
Hi, James. Do you have a moment? I just looked at the course site and the deadline is coming up. We need to lock in our research project.
I know. I've been hesitating because I can't decide on an approach that's interesting but still practical. The tutor keeps saying it has to be something we can study without huge resources.
True. I've been reading psychology blogs and study skills articles, and they all mention the same problem. Students often lose focus because they try to work for too long without stopping. Their attention gets overloaded.
That explains my habits. I try to finish everything in one sitting, and after about an hour, I'm just staring at the screen, rereading lines and not processing anything.
Same. So I think our topic should be study habits, not just motivation. Habits are easier to observe. What if we investigate how digital tools affect concentration?
Like apps that block notifications, limit social media, or organize study time.
Exactly. People recommend them constantly, but I'm not convinced they always help. Sometimes I check the app so often that it becomes another distraction.
I agree. I saw an online survey on this and the answers were inconsistent. Some users said their focus improved, others said they felt more distracted. There wasn't a clear pattern.
Which means it's a useful area to explore. But instead of only asking what people believe, we could observe what they do during a real study session.
Observation plus a short interview would be strong. We can ask about their usual routine, then watch how they study for a set time and note interruptions.
Also, we should learn from our last project. We were criticized because our conclusions weren't well supported. We didn't explain clearly how the data connected to our ideas.
Right. This time we need to show the link. Results first, interpretation second, and no vague claims.
So, let's define the research question: how do digital tools affect students' ability to focus while studying?
Good. Now we need a sample that's easy to access. If we pick random students, scheduling will be a nightmare.
What about the business faculty? They tend to use productivity apps a lot, and we can recruit from the building where we have classes.
Works for me. How many participants?
8 students. It's small enough to manage, but still gives us a range of behaviors.
Methodology. Mixed methods. Maybe a brief interview before, observation for 30 minutes, and a quick follow-up question after.
During observation, we should use the same checklist for everyone: which app they use, how often they switch tasks, how many times they touch their phone, and any obvious breaks in attention.
And we'll record everything in a spreadsheet, so it's easy to compare and calculate totals. If we time interruptions, we might be able to build simple averages.
Now, ethics. Because we're working with people, we need informed consent. They must know what we're recording, that they can stop at any time, and that there's no penalty for leaving.
We should keep stress low, too. The activity shouldn't feel like a test. We can let them choose a normal task, like reading notes or writing an outline.
And confidentiality matters. Use participant codes, not names, and don't record private content if a notification appears.
After collecting the data, we'll look for patterns and create a chart to show trends, like whether app users have fewer interruptions.
Then we'll evaluate the findings, discuss limitations, and suggest improvements for future research.
Great. Let's organize the interviews tomorrow.
Agreed. This feels much clearer now. Part 4. You will hear a talk about Oyster Reef breakwaters and how they protect coastlines while restoring marine ecosystems.
Oyster reefs used to be a familiar sight along coastlines on many continents. For centuries, they formed long, raised bands of shell that worked like natural seawalls, breaking waves before they reached beaches, marshes, and waterfront towns. Over the last 100 years, however, these reefs have collapsed in many regions. Pollution has harmed the water they depend on. Coastal construction has buried reef areas under sediment, and heavy harvesting has removed oysters faster than they can reproduce. Because of this decline, scientists and coastal planners are now trying to rebuild oyster reefs, not only to restore marine habitats, but also to create living breakwaters that can defend vulnerable shores. Modern restoration often involves building artificial reef bases from recycled shell, limestone, or specially designed concrete units. These foundations are placed in lines parallel to the shore, at heights that allow them to be covered and uncovered by the tide. Young oysters, known as spat, settle on the surfaces and gradually cement the structure together. Because the reef is alive, it can repair small damage, grow upward as sea level rises, and adapt to changing conditions in a way that rigid walls cannot. Community volunteers frequently help with shell collection and monitoring over many years ahead. A major reason reefs offer protection is the way they absorb wave energy. Unlike a smooth wall that can reflect waves back, a reef has a rough, irregular surface full of gaps, ridges, and small pools. When incoming waves meet that complex structure, much of their power is dissipated through turbulence and friction. The wave that finally reaches the shoreline is weaker, and that reduction can slow erosion, which is a serious problem for many coastal communities facing stronger storms and rising sea levels. Reefs also improve water quality through filtration. An individual oyster can filter large volumes of water each day, removing suspended particles and excess nutrients. When thousands of oysters work together, the surrounding water becomes clearer and cleaner. Clear water lets more sunlight penetrate, helping underwater grasses and other plants grow. As vegetation returns, it stabilizes sediments, provides habitat, and supports broader ecosystem recovery. Researchers have also observed a noticeable increase in marine species around reef sites. The reef's crevices provide shelter for juvenile fish, crabs, and many small invertebrates, while the hard surfaces allow algae and other organisms to attach and grow. Over time, these reefs become complex living structures that support food webs and attract a wide range of species, often increasing local abundance compared with nearby bare seabed. In pilot restoration projects, researchers have noticed that reefs placed in warmer waters often develop faster. Higher temperatures can speed up oyster reproduction and growth, provided the water remains suitable and not overly polluted. These findings help planners choose sites where reefs are most likely to expand quickly and become effective self-maintaining barriers. The benefits are not limited to wildlife. For coastal towns, reef breakwaters can protect homes and public infrastructure, such as roads, bridges, harbors, and seawater intakes. By reducing wave impact, they lower the risk of storm damage. In places that flood repeatedly, reefs can also function as natural flood protection, slowing water movement and reducing the height of storm surges as they push inland. Environmental engineering benefits as well. Reefs help stabilize the seabed. Their structure traps sediment that would otherwise be washed away by currents. As sediment accumulates, seabed structure improves, erosion is reduced, and conditions become suitable for other marine plants and animals to establish themselves. Even so, restoration is not a quick fix. Scientists emphasize long-term monitoring to ensure reefs survive and continue to grow. Water quality, disease outbreaks, and temperature shifts can all affect oyster populations. By tracking reef health over years, researchers can adjust materials, placement, and management strategies, improving the success of future projects. In short, oyster reef breakwaters combine coastal defense with ecological restoration. They weaken wave energy, clean the water, support diverse marine life, stabilize sediments, and create social and economic benefits for nearby communities. As storms intensify and sea levels rise, these living structures may become one of the most valuable tools for protecting shorelines while rebuilding ocean ecosystems.
Bạn đang nghe podcast miễn phí tại IELTS. Nếu bạn yêu quý kênh, hãy ủng hộ chúng mình ở phần mô tả nha.